Well,
Pleasure,
the
Alishia.
market really not managing to buck the overall global trend for very long. What's your reading of activity today, especially in light of the fact that we had those GDP numbers coming in to a large extent better than expected, above the 4% mark?
Yes, I think that commodity prices have taken a bit of a knock as the dollar strengthened over the last day or two. The market's at very high levels generally. And I think that, when there's a little bit of turmoil, Libya is getting a little bit ugly. People taking a bit of money out of emerging markets. And so we're following the rest of the world as people put money back into the safe haven Western economies rather than emerging markets. And we're following that trend.
Lots of local earnings are keeping things busy. Looking at Shoprite, it's seeing a 13.6% rise in first half profit. Overall impressions there, because the market not seeming to be reacting too positively to those numbers.
Yes, I think Shoprite's had a very good run over the last year and a half. Earnings have been consistently very good. I think they're coming up to a point where they have to get extra growth coming through. They are looking to open new stores in Malawi, Angola and Mozambique, which is very positive. But I think the market was expecting earnings around these levels. And with the money coming out, we saw that there was net foreign sellers in the equity markets last week and buyers into the bond markets. I think that just general equity is flowing out of South Africa, and Shoprite, the numbers are looking really solid and good, but I think profit taking and just a flow of funds coming out of the South African markets.
And maybe an extent of caution when it comes to the outlook on the road ahead. I mean, the risk that's presenting itself is in the form of inflation. It will undoubtedly start to put pressure on the consumer group that has held Shoprite in good stead over the recent past, where higher inflation would ordinarily be good for food retailers. How much Shoprite can afford to push on to its consumer base is still a very big question.
Yes, it is. I think it also has a lot to do with interest rates. I think that if food inflation comes through and our interest rates stay relatively stagnant where they are now, they'll be able to make quite a lot of money out of that. But I think as the Reserve Bank starts to push interest rates up, they won't be able to put that pressure onto the consumer as is. So I think it's a mix between food inflation as well as where our interest rates are. If they stay at these levels, I think that Shoprite will make a lot of money as food inflation moves up, and as the consumer gets under pressure, as interest rates move higher, then vice versa, Shoprite will have to take that onto themselves. So I think short term, still quite positive for Shoprite.
Well, we've got these retailers to a large extent taking cognizance of the Walmart effect on the industry moving forward. I've been reading reports saying that the market is possibly not pricing in that Walmart effect fully. I mean, we've got a foreign entrant that's looking to come in here, influencing prices, so it will feel the impact of a pricing model moving forward. That is a player like Shoprite.
Yes, I think everybody carries on their business as normal, but they have to obviously keep their eye out on competitors. So I think that their strategies for growth will continue. But we'll just have to see how aggressive Walmart comes into the market. If they're going to be a loss leader and they're happy to take losses for the first 6 months or a year that they're here, it'll cause a massive price war. So we just have to see how aggressive they come into the market. Generally, they are very aggressive, so we're going to have to wait and see there. But I think it will put pressure on all of our retailers.
Looking at Discovery Holdings, it posted a 16% drop in first half earnings, hit by the cost of acquisitions. It's also said, though, that it would launch a joint venture with Humana over in the US, and it seems that this is a company that just does not want to let go of that US operation, no matter how bad things may be getting.
Yes, they run a small business for Vitality, really, with the Vitality product, and they haven't really been able to get traction, although it has been well received, but just no traction. So I think this JV, Humana is the fourth biggest life insurer in the States. I think there's 18 million subscribers to it, so it really does give them a foot into the door to get that Vitality product going forward. So I think it's good that they've done a JV. A lot of South African companies battle starting with all of their own management in the States, and I think maybe they're trying a different angle here, taking a 25% stake. But 18 million subscribers is a lot of people that are coming on board, so it looks positive for them. We'll just have to wait and see if they can finally get traction for that Vitality product in America.
What about getting traction in the UK market? Is the market happy with the kind of noises they're hearing out of that operation with Prudential?
Well, I think that the Standard Life purchase people looked at quite suspiciously. It was a very big purchase, but so far it looks like it's going quite well. They've on the pure health product, they've got 90% increase in subscriptions, and so far it's looking actually quite good. So quite a surprise on that side. Whether they can carry on that performance going forward, we have to wait and see. But in a very, very difficult market, the UK really battling with high inflation and high costs there. So far it looks like they've managed to start on a stable footing.
While we've had the market reacting negatively to those two company announcements, AECI managing to push into the green pretty strongly today. What did you make out of those numbers? The company did declare a final cash dividend of 135 cents as well.
Yes, I think that cash dividend is up 17% is very positive for the company. I think people coming in and maybe taking some more AFEs, ACRs onto their book with a very good dividend there. And even though there was a very strong rand, they performed very well, and it just shows you that the growth in mining, what an impact it makes on them as it mining grew. And you've seen mining production increase over the last few months in South Africa, back in the trend over the last 10 years where it's been decreasing. They're starting to get quite a lot of good business coming through from the mines and looking very positive for them. I think all three companies that reported that we spoke about going forward all look quite positive, and I think even though the two Shoprite and Discovery are down today, I think in general they're looking quite positive going forward, and I think that's in general quite positive for the South African companies.